Buddy, and thanks for tuning in to the February 2020 Draft to Digital Ask Us Anything, also known as D2D Live. I'm Kevin Tumlinson. My voice is a little less dulcet than usual, as Mark might say, but I'm here with my good friends and coworkers, Mark Lefebvre and Dan Wood. Guys, go ahead and say hello and introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right, I'll start. Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
I think we're all fighting a little bit of whatever's going around. Hopefully,
yeah,
coronavirus, but other stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to make light of the whole coronavirus thing, but it has definitely taken me out over the past week since coming back from San Francisco. So if I cough in your ear, I apologize. Man, we are to jump right in. We already got a pile of questions growing in the comments on both Facebook and, by the way, on YouTube. If you haven't been following us on YouTube, go ahead and pop over there and check us out. We've got there's a live thing going on right now, but you can follow us on YouTube. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and put that guy up to make sure that you are alerted anytime we do one of these little guys. So go check that out. We want to pop right into questions then.
I think we should take a moment to point out we did hit 200,000 books.
Yes,
live. That means like those are books that we're distributing all over the world to different retailers. So we're very excited about that. It's just been a huge year of growth for us. We've been adding on average, I think, about 80 books a day. So just really, really cool to hit that benchmark. And we look forward to just continuing to grow and distribute more books and work with more authors. So thanks for working with us. Yeah.
And only about 150,000 of those books were mine. So no, that's fantastic, man. 200,000 books. That's mind boggling in its implications. Like, the sheer volume of it.
It really is. I remember, I think we hit 20,000 shortly after I started. And I remember thinking that was just an insane amount of books. And now 10 times that, it's just crazy.
And of course, we've read every single one of them.
All of them.
Mark, you got anything you need to announce, man?
Well, the one thing I want to make sure people know is Overdrive recently changed the way that they push the titles from their catalog into the library systems. Now, in the early days, they actually had divided the catalog into all the big publishers, or the big five, the big six, and everyone else. They basically had all of the self-published titles, no matter how they got into the system. They were all in sort of a walled off area that the librarians had to log into a separate system. And so we disappeared for a second.
Sorry about
back.
that.
Okay, that's
that
okay.
Was me.
we became ghost voices.
I was trying to work ahead and ended up blanking us out. Sorry.
Yeah, and actually that was a good example that Kevin gave, a visual example of what was happening. So a librarian would go to search for a title. Let's say you were an indie author and you let the library know your title was available. They would go into the system and they may not immediately see it in the main system that they did 90% of their searches in. So they would have to go to a secondary system to do a search. But I heard directly from Overdrive just about 2.5 weeks ago that they've now changed the system. Meaning if a librarian goes into the system, they're only searching one database, and that includes all titles, which means your draft to digital to published Overdrive titles are now securely, easily visible to librarians. So we have already seen an uptick in the sales to Overdrive for many of our authors already. And if you're noticing that in your own dashboard, or you may not notice it until you get that monthly report, but if you're noticing that, that's probably due just to that, unless you're doing additional marketing, of course.
Excellent. So, Mark, does Overdrive do reviews?
Does Overdrive do reviews? No, there are no reviews posted on it. You're funny, but you have a question about reviews.
We do have a question about reviews. Let's pop up Russ Snyder's question. Does Apple feature reviews / ratings? And he wants to know a lot because he used 3 question marks. He's very excited. You guys were talking about this beforehand. Is that a Vespa, Russ? That's sharp looking, man. You guys were talking about this before we went on air. So where'd we land on that? What did we decide?
So yes, Apple lets people leave reviews. They'll ask you for a starter review, but you can also leave comments, and those comments you can read through on any Apple device. It's pretty hard to see things on Apple if you don't have an Apple device. They have a place to call out professional reviews. So sometimes Apple Books team will do their own review, or they'll feature like Carcass or some of the ones that you pay for. So those can be highlighted at the top of a review, but then people can scroll down and read just normal user reviews as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I know I've gotten reviews on Apple, but I don't know that I've ever actually seen them anywhere. And I am an Apple user, so apparently I'm just not looking in the right place. So I don't think there is an organic discovery tool as Amazon reviews might be.
I would agree with that. Like, you basically kind of have to be looking, and there's no way to like search. I don't think you can search by number of stars or anything. Like, it's just you search by title, you search through the genre. So
yeah. We got another question. This one about print books from Joanne. When will print books be available, Dan?
Oh boy. So print, we redid some of the user interface, and we're just about to release that. And so we had a lot of people who just wanted to use us for print because they might be exclusive with Amazon right now.
Right.
The workflow we had didn't make it very easy to do that. And so we had to kind of split out the print from the ebook workflow. So that is just about done. We will open up a new round of our print beta. And so if the people already in the print beta will get to see the new user interface, and then we'll invite some more new people to it. We are still looking for better coverage for author copies in foreign countries. So we're still going to stay in beta for a little bit, but we should make some add a lot more people to our print program in just a week or two. I guess it's more like 3 weeks, somewhere like middle March.
This has really been challenging, and we know a lot of people have been desperately waiting for this beta to wrap up, I guess, and go live. And we are going to be adding new people to the beta after we do the sort of relaunch of the site, the new tools and everything. But that is a big bonus that's come out of this, is that we are doing something completely new with the site itself. So it may seem a little strange at first when people first log in, but it's going to be to your benefit. It's going to work great. Can't wait until that goes live too.
And I'd like to do a shout out to the beta users who've given us some amazing feedback, because if it wasn't for that feedback that we had from the users, that helped us understand that we needed to do that additional work. Yeah, it took extra months for us to go back and redesign that, but that was something that's really been valuable. Should we follow up with further print questions? I mean, I saw one about ISBNs for print and ebook. Is it worth segueing
here, man?
Oh, you already had things planned.
Might be easier just to go
all right
down the list, since it's kind of hard to follow the.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, just looking ahead to see if I could find one made me lose this next question. But here's our next question is from Regina. What's with the ghastly formatting of EPUB on Kobo?
You can blame Mark Lefebvre for that.
I do blame Mark for that.
All his fault from his years at Kobo.
I can actually explain what that is. That is something we at Drafted Digital are very aware of. And even when I worked at Kobo, I was very aware of that. It is the way that the web team is interpreting the EPUB for their preview only. It is not the actual EPUB on Kobo. I still read on Kobo, and I buy a lot of books that have been formatted through D2D. Heck, I've been using D2D for my formatting even when I worked at Kobo, because it was the best free conversion tool on the market. And I say that having been paying for the Kobo Writing Life conversion tool. But it's actually the way the book is previewed that is interpreted incorrectly. That has been reported multiple times to the Kobo team. So we've done everything we can. Just know that your EPUB is beautifully formatted the way you see it previewed, sent to Apple, sent to Kobo, sent to Nook, sent to Amazon, sent to any of the places that you pick downstream. So it's really just their preview online that's kind of caca, to use a technical term.
Like, other than Apple and Amazon, everyone else uses the same software. in the background. We have multiple devices from each of the vendors. So we have Nooks, we have Kobo devices. So we check and make sure everything looks fine on the actual delivered file. It's just, there's not an easy way for the retailers, like Mark said, to preview on their website in the proper format.
Yeah. Okay. So I was going to include a little bit of slight modification of a comment from our boy Austin behind the scenes here, just to say that we've told them about this, and we're just kind of waiting for Kobo themselves to initiate some sort of fix for it. So everyone is aware of that problem. We got some folks here from Northern Ireland. Hi, Birdie B.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a question from the YouTube live stream right now. How many times? Wait for it. How many times do I have to put a keyword in the description to make the most effective? Okay. Well, keywords you would only use once in your description, really. You can use them as many times as you want in the description. You want it to make sense organically to the description. Where it's more important is in the little keyword list in the metadata for the book. But there is some value to making sure that some keywords appear in the description itself. I'm just finding lately that a lot of the retailers aren't actually necessarily using that to drive any of their search results. Like Amazon, for example, it doesn't seem to matter anymore whether you've got a keyword in the description itself or not. It used to matter, but seems lately that's no longer the case. It may change though, so it's not really a bad idea to go ahead and include a keyword in there, but I would make it organic. Don't make it sound like you're stuffing, because people do not like that, and some of the retailers will come down on you for it if they think you're keyword stuffing. So
the one thing, just to make sure that the most important ones you put first, right? At the topic is not, yeah.
Yes,
in the keyword field.
Keywords first in the keyword field. If you're going through us, we have that field that you can use to enter. I think it's up to 7 keywords. I can't recall.
Yeah, I think you can enter more,
Maybe
but
more.
I think Amazon only takes 7, for example,
Amazon
and some retailers only take 2 or 3. So always put your most prominent ones first before you dig down into the lesser keywords.
It varies by retailer. I think with Amazon, it's most important just because those keywords can affect what categories you end up in.
Yeah.
They have some lists on their website of use these keywords to end up in this category.
Yeah.
But other than that, the other retailers don't necessarily use it that way.
So Amazon's on KDP, they took down all the nifty little tools for figuring out what categories you can get in with certain keywords. There's only like 1 or 2 still floating around out there. I don't know why they decided to do that. But if you look around online, people have replicated those. So if anyone in our audience has a list of keywords to get you in certain categories, this would be the time to share it. Okay, our next question is from, I'm going to say Joanne. Question, do we need a PCIP block on my copyright page? I don't know what that means. So
I do not either. Mark, are you familiar with that?
It's probably a publishing term related to some sort of library system. I'm not sure. PCIP. That's a good question. I have no idea what PCIP is. Maybe I don't even have the Google open, so I can go check it out.
I'm going to ask our good friend Austin if he will Google that and drop the results into Slack so that we can come back to this question. So for stumping us, Joanne, you get the coveted D2D no prize. We'll send you absolutely nothing in no time whatsoever. But thank you for the question. If we can come up with an answer either here or here in the community and on the comment sections, if anybody wants to pop in with a comment about that, feel free. So Leonardo has another question. How do Apple algorithms work? What books are showed more than others?
Generally, most of the retailers don't explain their algorithms very well because they don't want people to try to manipulate them. With Apple, what I've noticed anecdotally is a lot of it has to do with how recently the book was published. They favor books that are more recent. So kind of like with Amazon, where there's it's a 90-day fall off. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, it's a 90-day cliff right now.
They have a certain amount of time where they're featuring newer titles. And so especially if you're writing within a series, a good way to continue to get your books in front of people is just to keep releasing a new book in the series, making sure you have your metadata right so that the series is linked up. They bought some software called Booklamp years ago to help with discovery, and they've been making slight changes to their search engine over time, and it's getting better and better. But it's still a little bit hard to find books generally. They're generally featuring the books that are selling the most and are the most recent. So I know Kobo has something similar to that, where they're tracking just the heat over the last week, like how much people are searching for it or buying it. And then it also figures in some stuff historically over time.
Okay, so I got another question here. Let's see. This is another print question. This is an interesting one. Why can't we upload books with less than 64 pages for print? That needs to be fixed, especially for those who have shorter books. Although I don't think I've ever bought a book with less than 64 pages in it, unless it was like a coloring book or something. What is the deal with our print book page limitation?
It's just a limitation based on the partner that we have for print books. We're doing those through IPG and eventually through to Ingram for distribution. And their limit, and it's just, and this is the reality of the situation. And I think there was another question I saw come up in the feeds in case we don't get to it is, why should I use you instead of Ingram Spark? Well, I think of D2D print as Ingram Spark Ultra Light. So, with our partner and the way that we are going to have D2D print set up, you're not going to have as many choices and options. Basically, you're going to have maybe a choice of about 8 to 12 trim sizes. Whereas with Ingram Spark, you can choose hardcover, you can choose a plethora of trim sizes. One of the main differences, of course, is that yes, there's a limit. So if you're going directly through Ingram Spark, and I believe KDP Print allows you to go shorter than that, but with us, 64 pages. But the other thing you get with our print platform is you get an automatic cover wrap. If you have not had a full cover design done for your book, you can just upload a high resolution print front cover and we'll create an automatic wrap for you. And so there's a benefit there for maybe even some of those shorter books, obviously shorter, but not shorter than 64 pages. And you get a free ISBN through D2D. So free ISBN for ebook if you need one, free ISBN for your print book. Paul, something that has happened to me because I've done some short story collections that ran under 10,000 words. And what I did is I just went in and added a little bit of extra content to make it, hit the 64 page mark. So I added an additional chapter that looked into the theme, offered some notes for the stories. And that also makes it, it gives it a nicer spine as well, makes it a slightly thicker product. And it still keeps it to a low cost. So you can still, set a retail price for $5 or something like that and make it reasonable. So it's just a current limitation we have with our partner. So
just set your font to 100 points. And you'll get past the page limitation. So Robin asks, does Apple have special promotions that D2D authors can take advantage of, and how?
Yes, we they run special promotions across different genres fairly often. We right now, the way we communicate with the authors is we email them about promotions that they might, if they have books that would be eligible for it. I'd say the majority of promotions that run right now are romance. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, romance and thriller are probably the top two ones. I know. I think there was a nonfiction one coming up, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And so those are the ones they're actually coming more regularly now. And right now it is very manual, but that is something we intend on building into our promotions tab as the year progresses and we get things like print and other development priorities out of the way.
Yeah, you want to make sure just to check the email that you have associated with Draft to Digital, on a regular basis. Make sure that our emails aren't going into your spam folder. because that's generally how we communicate about the different promotions. And then we just let people sign up on a form. Apple lets us know which ones they accept. We also talk to the Apple team just about every 3 weeks and show them a list of our pre-orders. They use pre-order numbers for a lot of their choices in merchandising. And so anything you can do to increase the number of pre-orders you have. So, making sure your readers know that your book is available for pre-order, letting your pre-order be up for longer, like having it up for 3 months instead of like 3 weeks. Pre-orders just help drive merchandising at Apple and at some extent at Kobo as well.
All right, we have a question from David about photos. Photos in my download to your online service seem to change the formatting. How can I see the formatting prior to downloading my book with pictures? Does our format, does our previewer let you see even with the photos, right?
It does. It's really hard with ebooks to just using photos in them is very difficult. In general,
all around.
It's going to be better to pay a professional formatter if you've got a lot of pictures in an ebook, because you're going to want to look at using a fixed format ebook as opposed to what our converter is, where it's reflowable. With reflowable, it just means that you don't know exactly what device your reader is going to be reading on. And so you make it to where it works on iPad, you make it work on a small smartphone, you make it work on a big smartphone. The other problem you have with pictures in ebooks is it adds to the size of the ebook, and Amazon charges you for delivery size. So you can end up making an ebook that's big enough that you actually have to pay Amazon to distribute it.
Our behind the scenes guru, Austin, says that it depends on how you have them set up within your manuscript, making sure they're not anchored and not too big, etc., not etc., like I just said. All right, we have another question. I'm sorry, I have a cough drop in my mouth now, so I'm trying not to make a bunch of noise with that. Victoria asks, will you ever offer the option of large print with your print program?
Yes.
We get to ask this question a lot.
Yeah, our CEO is, it's one of the big things he wants to add to it. We're just trying to finish up, wrapping up the main part of the service, and then we'll be adding a couple of things where we make it easy for having a large print version. And hopefully we'll be able to add some other options beyond, right now we have the most common size print books, but we'll be adding other sizes as well.
I think what we want to do is make sure we launch it first before we then add additional bells and whistles. So again, launch it with the minimal, get it working, and then you work with our partner to get those other things added.
Okay, now that I'm done half choking to death on this cough drop, Michael has asked if we would please summarize any new development in transmission.
That's an easy question. Kind of open-ended. Do you want to start on that one, Mark?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're gearing towards getting print up and running. We have a couple of partners in the queue for other distribution opportunities, retail and library channels. So we're pretty excited about those. Those will be announcements you'll see in the next month or two. And one of the key things that I'm really excited about is leveraging our existing beta release of D2D universes, which is kind of a replacement for Kindle Worlds. Think Kindle Worlds, but not exclusive to one retailer, everywhere. We've had several authors who are using D2D universes very successfully to collaborate and to do payment splitting. And so leveraging that same technology that we've already built for D2D universes so that we can do more advanced and sophisticated payment splitting, we think is a great opportunity for writers. And I use that as an example of myself as a Canadian. I don't want to have to get paid from draft to digital and then have to figure out paying somebody in another country and the conversion from US to Canadian and then back to US. I'd rather just have draft to digital handle all of that. And so we're working behind the scenes with some beta users who are already in the program to determine exactly what would make it easier for authors to collaborate together without one person having to manage it all and manage all of the payments. So that's one I'm particularly excited about for this year.
kind of behind the scenes, we've worked a little bit on stuff like the boring stuff of our infrastructure, just making our website work better. We kind of had to upgrade from one version of a software platform to another. And so that all makes for a better experience, but it's not one of those exciting things that you talk to users about much. But it also makes it more secure. We've worked a lot on security lately because we've been seeing all of the different exploited sites. A lot of sites have been hacked recently, so we've been focusing a lot on making our site incredibly secure. So that's kind of exciting on the back end. And I come from an IT background. Is that exciting to authors? Maybe not, but
yeah, we tend to have a whole lot of things that happen behind the scenes that wouldn't be exciting to the authors in any way, except that overall it's protecting them and maybe even helping them to make more sales and that sort of thing. So it's not usually big announcement stuff though.
Yeah, you don't want to see how the draft to sausages are made.
But, yeah. So to go back to some of the stuff that Mark said, we are looking at new retailers all the time. We're excited. We're adding a couple more library partners. And so last year was a big push towards libraries. We think now is an excellent time for indies really to focus on libraries, and libraries are becoming much more willing to carry indie books. And then we've got a retailer coming up that will help with if you've got French language content, or if you are translating into French. It just should help your reach with getting to the French market, make it so much easier.
Okay, we've got another question. This one starts off by kind of somewhat congratulating us on our 200,000 books, but do you guys have the numbers by genre?
Not a specific percentage. However, a good chunk, like our catalog has always been fairly heavy with romance. Very early on, we got, we started working with a lot of authors in the romance community. They were it's a very tight knit group. And so they told their friends. And so, I would say probably 60% of our content is romance. After that, mysteries and thrillers would probably be second, science fiction and fantasy third. Surprisingly enough, it's like nonfiction and YA are probably our smallest categories, just because with YA, there's not as many readers reading ebooks as there are with some of the other genres.
Brian has asked, how often are presale numbers updated? Mine date back to the 3rd and the 8th. It's a fairly manual process, right? And so we're still kind of updating that by going out and scraping that content, I think. So
some of the retailers like Apple give it to us in a way where we can just pull a report every day. Other retailers like Kobo and Barnes & Noble, someone from their team manually emails us. We upload those when as soon as we get them in. So Apple, it's like we're hearing back the next day. With Barnes & Noble and Kobo, we're generally hearing once a week. The last number it reports to you on your webpage is the last time the partner told us you had a sell. So the 3rd would have been the last time you had a sell. And then we might have heard about from the retailer since then, but you didn't sell anything that day. And so I would say about half the retailers that support pre-orders are giving it to us next day, and then about half of them are next week.
Yeah, and, libraries are the earliest would be weekly at the very earliest, right? If not later.
For libraries, I want to say libraries are monthly that we would hear about pre-orders. Yeah,
because I know they're typically their systems are a little bit more archaic than the retailer systems, so they tend to be slower in general.
Archaic's a fun word. Okay. So Leonardo says, what is the single best way to sell more books on Apple? The single way, guys.
Single way.
Be
inclusive. Be inclusive. Make sure you include links to Apple. That's number one, right? You can't sell there if you're not including them.
I still don't think anything better than a BookBub ad for getting your books moving wide. So the BookBub featured ad sells a ton of books at all the retailers.
Yeah, you mean the featured deal, right?
Yeah, the featured deal.
Featured deal. Yeah, you can do BookBub ads, which could help boost your numbers on all platforms, really. But you can do them specific to a platform as well. Yeah. So if you're really keen on getting some, seeing some traction on numbers, specifically on Apple, you might try a platform like that. BookFunnel, BookPub, Facebook ads, anything that you can use to target specifically the Apple ebook readers. That would help a great deal. But as Mark pointed out, making sure that you're including Apple links when you promote the book. A lot of people forget to do that. They focus on one retailer, usually Amazon. But you can use our universal book links to help with that. We'll include links to everywhere that book is sold online in your universal book link, which you would get at books2read.com. And then from there, you can, whatever ad campaigns you run or whatever, people can find the book wherever they most want to read it.
And I would want to call out as well our good friend David Gogren's book on BookBub ads. Fantastic. If you're looking at leveraging and optimizing your BookBub ads, that is a really worthwhile investment. I've read the book, also listened to him do live talks about it, and I was in the back of the room while a representative from BookBub was watching him on stage, and I saw her nodding vigorously as he was talking. So that's always a good sign that he's got it right.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate from earlier, we mentioned that pre-orders are huge for Apple merchandising. Anything you can do, like if you're not using pre-orders right now with Apple, it's probably the most important at Apple. A neat thing that happens with Apple is that you can rank as a pre-order. So like if your book is selling really well, it can show up in the bestseller list as a pre-order. But then on the day of release, it also gets all of the ranking juice from the sales right then. And so it can give you just a lot more visibility on their platform.
This next question is one I kind of like. Does D2D give its authors 2 ISBN numbers if they intend to do both e-versions and print versions of their books? So they get, and the answer is yes. You get a hard one. I really thought one of you would leap in there with the answer, but yes, you get a separate ISBN for each version of your book, and we will give you a free one for each. So, I mean, it doesn't automatically come. It's only if you do use the print side. Like you don't get one you can just take somewhere else, for example. Yeah. But as soon as you agree to it, you can bring in your own ISBN as well. I don't want anybody listening to think that they have to use one of our provided ISBNs. But if you have an ISBN, it needs to be specific to that version of the book. In other words, if you've got one for a print book, you can't use it for your ebook and vice versa. But yes, we will give you a free ISBN for every one of the 2 versions of the book that goes out from us.
You see, Kevin, I was going to joke and say that to get a print ISBN, it would cost you twice as much as it costs to get an ISBN for your ebook.
Yes, you have to pay.
It's 2 times 0.
Let's not confuse the audience.
I know, that's why I didn't say anything. Now I've just confused everything.
Yeah.
But it is free for a print ISBN or an ebook ISBN, right?
Yes.
Yet another perk.
Both of those are free. That is a perk. And then both of those are optional until you go live with the book. Once you go live with the book, whatever ISBN is associated with it is its ISBN. But yeah, you can bring your own in. Let's see. We do have here's another question about print. My book is ready to publish, and I'm trying to decide between you and the other guy. Here's a determining factor. How soon will print books be available? I don't know who the other guy is, but there's no one else in our space that's doing print. So but
no other distributor, right?
No other distributor. Yeah, none of the ebook distributors in our space are doing print. But we did address the actual question of this earlier. We are currently doing some retrimming, revamping, retooling on the website to accommodate people who only want to do print. And so that's been part of the adjustment as we go forward. So soon, it will be soon. We can't give you an exact date yet because we're still kind of figuring a few things out and making some adjustments and dealing with a few other things behind the scenes. But we're hoping that's going to be very soon. So did you guys want to add anything to that? I have to scroll back and find the question popped right out of the
I think as we mentioned before, that is something that we're probably in the revision of the way it's been designed, thanks to our beta readers. It's probably a few weeks away before we bring that into our beta environment and then roll that out to other users. We're pretty excited about how that's going to look and how that's going to streamline things and save people time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm new to D2D. What are the recommended tutorials for me to learn and make full use of the features? Well, you are in the right place, actually, because you're on YouTube. If you pop over to our YouTube channel, we do have some videos in place to kind of walk you through, the onboarding and all that sort of thing. We're going to be revamping all of that soon, because as we make changes to the site, it's going to necessitate making some changes to the video. But for the most part, that's going to be a great guide right up until we upload the new stuff. So there is that. And you might want to pop over to draft2digital.com/blog, where you can find a whole bunch of blog posts about everything that we do, all the ways in which our site functions, tools and resources, tips on marketing, all kinds of stuff that you might find useful. So go check that out at draft2digital.com/blog. But do be sure, no matter where you're watching this right now, be sure that you go and subscribe to us on YouTube, because we're going to be doing quite a few updates soon.
So while Kevin's looking for the next question, I'll just add to that. Something you may want to double check and look at is how to use Books to Read, how to leverage it, how to add your affiliate codes from Amazon, Apple, and other websites into Books to Read. And then also how to leverage reading lists so that you can create merchandising pages of books and not just have to wait for a retailer to have to do it for you.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be exclusively your books. It could be, you can make them
for anyone.
Or any other authors. And that's in the indie space, or even traditionally published authors. You can create whatever you like. Okay, we got a question from Michael. Can we upload our own EPUB files, or is Word the only file type that can be used for manuscripts? You can absolutely upload your own EPUB files, formatted however you like. I think there may be formatting restrictions actually, but when you upload your EPUB file, you do lose the ability to do some of the automated stuff that we have going on our side. Primarily like us updating your metadata with your also by page. Well, actually, they can add an also by page and a couple of other pages, but we can't go in and edit and modify the EPUB file.
Yeah, and you can't preview it, right? Because if you've already got an EPUB,
you can't preview it. If it's EPUB 3, there's some restrictions, but EPUB 2, we can make some changes to.
Yeah. So if you already have an EPUB file, no problem. Go ahead and pop it up there. I tend to do that because I use Vellum for my formatting. And that may be your case as well, Michael. But and you don't really lose anything necessarily by going with your own EPUB file. It's just that some of the automated stuff and the cool little extra features that we have built in become unavailable, like the formatting, the ebook formatting tool that we have, which has a bunch of templates that you can use for free. It's very Vellum-like in the way it handles ebook layout, and that layout can also translate over to print when print goes live. So you kind of lose that, but if you've got a handle on your formatting, you're probably good. Eric asks, when you offer print, will this replace Ingram Spark? I'm going to just say yes. It's not true. Ingram Spark is a completely different company, but if you can use us in place of Ingram Spark, yes, and it's going to be essentially the same service.
Yeah, it goes to the same downstream retailers. The only difference, I think, is Ingram Spark's going to give you 50 choices, and we're going to give you a reduced version. Think of it as like the Cliff's Notes or the Coles Notes or the Reader's Digest version of the tool. We want to keep it simple. We want to keep it streamlined and make it as easy as possible for more people to get print without having to go through bells and whistles. So difference is Ingram Spark costs money, D2D print free. Ingram Spark, lots of choices and options. D2D print, minimized options to keep it simple. So it'll replace it if that's important to you.
Yeah, if you already have your books up at Ingram Spark, other than saving on the costs that they charge, you'd probably just want to leave your book at Ingram Spark. We're really aiming. We know a lot of our authors just don't have print because it's difficult right now, and so that's really what the print product is aimed at: is making it easy to have a print book available and out there for people to buy off of any of the websites that sell print-on-demand books.
All right. CF asks, any idea what is the wait time? Any idea what the wait time is before your audiobook is released on either ACX or Findaway Voices? I don't know the wait time actually. Once we're talking about once it's completed, I'm assuming.
Hey, you probably want to reach out to Findaway about that right now.
Yeah.
I know it's varied in the past. Sometimes it's quick, and sometimes, like around the holidays, everyone in the industry gets backed up because everyone's submitting new books. I think it varies. So we don't directly distribute audiobooks, and so we don't have any experience on our end directly with that time period.
So just usually as an author, usually give it about 2 weeks is probably a safe bet. ACX is only going to Apple and Audible. Findaway Voices is going to 43 different places. So you're going to get a variety, right? Some of the retailers, like I know Apple is relatively quick and Google is relatively quick. They're going to be online really quickly. Places like Overdrive and library systems only process once a week. So that's probably going to take a little bit longer, just from my own experience doing that.
All right. The next couple of questions were both about the print beta. I'm gonna pop this one up. What is the email to request joining the next round of final beta? And actually, I think we have a URL, correct?
Yeah, it's draftdigital.com/print beta.
Okay.
Why did we make it so complicated?
I know. We'll probably add the next round of people towards the end of March. Is like right now at the last meetings I was in about it. It looks like that's when we're going to be ready and have some of the tutorials in place because we are changing a little bit of the way the workflow of adding a book to our website is.
Okay, I'm going to real quick pop that up on screen. Join the print beta. Hopefully I can retrace my steps and find where I was left off. Okay. So go ahead and jot that down while you've got a chance. Okay. Here's a question from Phoenix Sullivan, actually. Do you have best practices for using UBL links? I know I can customize links. Is there an advantage to drive customers to buy pages versus description pages? Yes. So go.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. We had early on when we first launched the books to read links, we did some testing to see the additional click. When you're on the detail page where there's all the information about the book, that's 2 extra clicks to get to the retailer. And we found better success in click to buy ratios when they only had to click the icon that they wanted. So for example, Amazon or Kobo or Apple or whatever. And so what we did is by default, we use there's no details. There's just the book cover, and here's the link to the retailer. As you know, Phoenix, probably any customer who's already set their own preferred store, they don't even go there. It takes them directly to their geo-targeted retailer page. So, for example, if it's an Amazon link and they're in the UK, it's going to take them to the UK or Canada or the US, depending on where they are in the world. And so myself personally, I kind of like the detail page with all the details and the information, but then you have to click the get it now, and then it takes you to the page. And so by default, we tend to use that least clicks page because we've seen in the past that it results in better conversion. I hope that helps, Phoenix. Maybe it doesn't help, but at least maybe helps explain why we use that as the default page.
Helps me. All right. Kayla has an important question. Are you the only 3 employees at Draft Digital? No, actually, we only have 1 employee. I'm the only employee. These 2 are just really poor AI knockoffs. So, actually, we have about 20 people, I think.
19 right now, and your wife is joining us in April, so we'll be at 20 in April.
That's awesome.
Yeah. She's excited. She's going to be helping out with some various tasks behind the scenes. So don't go bugging her.
There are a lot of people doing some amazing work behind the scenes at D2D. We're just privileged with the fact is we're not shy. We're willing to get out in front and answer questions. So
we were the least introverted, and just about everyone else hates being on camera.
Yeah.
You will there's a couple of our Ask Us Anything where our director of operations, Tara, has joined us. We've been trying to talk a couple other people into joining us for one of these. So hopefully you'll see some more people and some more faces.
People who have beards every once in a while.
Yeah, Tara refuses to grow a beard, though. So.
Really annoying.
Craig asks, Craig, who, by the way, is from Ontario, Canada, I believe.
Hey, represent Ontario.
Do you have many promos for children's books?
It's very rare. For the most part, children's books haven't moved over to digital in the same way that other genres have. And so it seems like kids prefer to read physical books. It's hard to say. I mean, part of that's probably because their parents are buying it for them as gifts, and it's not as exciting to buy an ebook. But most of our retailers don't run very many children-oriented promotions.
Yeah, so I mean, some young readers, some young adults, but once you get into picture books, that's still primarily a print game, and we don't have any promos for those through our retail partners.
So Glenda asks, if I were to buy EPUB software, what would you suggest? I bought some from Wondershare and it didn't work on your site properly. Well, first, there's no need to buy any software if you use our free EPUB conversion tool on our site. So you can upload a Word document or an RTF file, and we will automatically convert that to EPUB, Mobi, and even a print-ready PDF for you, absolutely free with some cool formatting tools to make it look amazing. So that's free. On the paid side, we'll often recommend Vellum, but Vellum is first of all, only available on Mac at the moment, and is kind of costly. It's a couple $100 for the software overall. I say costly, but I came from the era where layout software would cost you like $1,200. So $200 to $250 for Vellum is a pretty good deal. They're friends of ours. We have some light integration with Vellum as well. But there are a ton of other pieces of software out there. Now I'm going to say this, and I don't know, everyone corrects me no matter which way I say it. There is a free app called Calibre or Caliber. I don't know who is right, but
don't use Caliber. It makes
Calibre.
Yeah. It makes bad EPUBs.
Yeah.
Really, I would use our free software or Vellum.
So, yeah.
Is the only thing I see.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wouldn't recommend
authors that I work with use.
Yeah. Okay. And another program that you could use, and I don't know if we like this one or not either, but you can use Scrivener to create your EPUBs. Scrivener is a challenging piece of software when you're trying to do that sort of thing, but there are tons of tutorials out there and tons of communities on Facebook, etc. You're on YouTube right now, Glenda. You can YouTube using Scrivener to create EPUBs, and you probably get a pretty good tutorial. So I think that one tends to work okay for us. Have we had any issues with that?
I know, just that it's hard, but
It is challenging, yeah.
Scrivener does have offer other things to help you with the writing process, and so I do know people that use that. But by and large, for like the actual formatting, it's Vellum or us.
Okay. Here's a good one. Donna says, "Give us a sales pitch. What are 3 reasons we should use you instead of Amazon?" And we don't think you should use us instead of anybody. You can use us to get to Amazon, or you can go to Amazon directly and use us to get everywhere else. So unless you're talking about going exclusive into Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform, which has a 90-day exclusivity, there's no reason to use one over the other. We'll happily work with you.
It's all your choice. But in terms of sales pitch, would be the one reason why you may want to use an aggregator like the wonderful Draft to Digital is if you don't want to manage multiple accounts. The other thing, Donna, if you have a virtual assistant and you want to get them to do things, you have to give them access to your Amazon account, which means they have access to your banking information and everything. With Draft to Digital, we do have the opportunity for you to assign people access to just be able to update your books for you and not have access to sales data and not have access to your banking information, which is a security reason. So that may be one reason why you may want to use Draft to Digital, even though using an aggregator means you usually are making 10% less, because that's how we make money. We only make money when you sell books, and we basically keep 10% of that. So instead of 70%, you're only making 60, but potentially you have peace of mind and you don't have to manage 16 different accounts.
Okay, we've got lots of nice comments. I want to thank everybody for being kind to us. Let's see. Here's a comment from Regina. Just because it mentions my name, it gets to go up. And it covers Dan. Alexa sent me Kevin's self-promotion guide after I added most of my books, including a series to D2D and B to read. But being new to your system, how do I steer people to non-Amazon links? On my email list, almost everyone goes to Amazon, even overseas, even with getting the UBL. So I've been on Books to Read 3 weeks and no sales yet. How do you all yourselves promote non-Amazon sites if you do? I'm going to go ahead and hide this question so that Dan can be back on the screen.
Dan, yeah. Can I ask a question about that question? The beauty of Books to Read links is you allow the reader to go to the retailer of their choice. And so I wouldn't want to exclude Amazon if that's where someone wants to buy my books. I want to allow my readers to buy my books on any platform that they want to, any library system that they want to get access to it. So I understand there may be political reasons why you don't want to feed the monopoly of the Amazon, but if people are buying your books on Amazon, why wouldn't you want to be inclusive?
Right.
Not to be confrontational, because I'm Canadian and we don't do that very well. So I should apologize for that. But, be inclusive rather than exclusive.
I think you're about to break open a coronavirus bottle and hold it to someone's throat.
And some of those, it just takes time. Just building up your reader list at the other retailers takes time. Amazon is extraordinarily good at selling ebooks. The other retailers are beginning to catch up, but as you are available to readers, more and more readers will find your books. The great thing is you're available at libraries, you're available in other countries that Amazon doesn't even touch. So just keep kind of plugging away at it, and those readers will come.
Plug at it, they will come. So Steve asks, could you clearly describe what a chapbook is? Also, is publishing a poetry book with pictures as simple as putting it all on Word and submitting it to you for formatting, graphics every other page? Graphics and pictures in ebooks, it's always going to be challenging because we tend to try to avoid fixed formats. Things need to be able to reflow pretty easily because the readers themselves want to be able to change things like the font size, maybe even the font style. They have control over that, so it's hard to predict where something's going to fall. That said, we do work with people for helping them, figure this out and get their pictures aligned in the right places, etc. Poetry. I mean, we can still do poetry, but don't we have to do some special formatting on our side, Dan?
There's a template that just tells it to disregard some of the normal formatting things we do.
Yeah.
So they would just need to reach out to us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Steve, the question about chapbook too, right? I think he may be referring to print because chapbook's usually not used for digital, unless it's a digital version of a chapbook. But that's just an old term that was used for people who would be selling books on the street, usually staple-bound little leaflets of often poetry. That's where the term originates back in the history of publishing. I usually think of a chapbook as anything that's really, really short, small, under 100 pages.
Every time you say selling books on the street, I picture some guy with like a trench coat. Like, you want some Harry Potter?
Want to buy a Dickens?
Okay, so Glinda asks, I do children's books, picture, chapter, etc., that have lots of pictures inside. Why do you change the CMYK to black and white? I was told it was because it costs too much for printing.
With our current partners, yes. We're just focused on black and white. Eventually, we might look for other partners that can handle color, but right now, that's not covered.
Right. We have a question about audiobooks here. So Donna Poole asks, do you plan to add audiobooks? And we aren't distributing audiobooks directly ourselves, but we do have a partner in Findaway Voices. And you can actually get to them through us. You can actually, with a click, basically, if you distribute your books through us, you can push them over to Findaway to start the whole production process with them. And there is
they also can do just distribution, like if you've already got the audiobook.
That's true. If you already have an audiobook produced, they'll distribute it, and they'll do it for no charge, really. They work kind of like us. They'll take a percentage of sale through whatever platform you distribute to through them. If you go to them through us, you save the $50 fee that they charge. It used to be called a setup fee or something, but now it's like a casting fee. So they'll waive that $49.99 or whatever it is casting fee if you go in through us. If in fact, I should create a banner here while I type. It is Findaway Voices / D2D. So sorry about that.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to distribute audiobook when we have a partner that has almost the very same DNA as Draft to Digital, very author-centric, very author-focused, and they're one of the best partners that we could have because they basically do things very similar to the way we do. And so when they innovate, we benefit from that by helping authors get their metadata into Findaway quickly. So there's no point in us spending development time on something like that when we have a partner that does it really well, so then we can work on other things.
Right.
We've got about 5 minutes left, Kevin, so we probably want to do like one or two more questions.
Yeah, let's pop ahead here. I feel like I'm not giving enough love to these folks. Brian asks, Dan, I've heard it's a good idea to have a pre-order link in the back matter of your ebook. To do this, it seems you'll have to know the title, page count, and other ISBN required info first, which means the next book needs to already be written or close to it. Is this the case? Yeah, if you're going to include a pre-order link, that's true. You'll need to know at least the title. And
you can change the title if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You can submit pre-orders without any assets. Most of the retailers do prefer that you have the cover at least, but you can change the cover. You can change the title. You probably don't want to do anything really wacky with the title. Like if you try to get as close to what you think the actual title will be as possible, because some of the retailers will build the URL link based on the title of the book. But you don't have to have any information to set up a pre-order, and then you can get that link back and people can start buying that right away.
What I might advise is if you don't have the pre-order yet, but you know you're going to be releasing another book, please have an author newsletter. Make sure that you have a link to your author newsletter so then you can send them a link to the pre-order once it's live. And then that's one way around it. If your pre-order is like that far in the future that it's not ready, and obviously there's no link anywhere for you.
Okay. We have other questions, but some are getting a little deep and elaborate. So I think if you feel like you need some straight answers here, we've got some good news for you. We are going to be offering again our free author consultations, and we are offering basically a free 30-minute author consultation with one of the two of them right now. So. Unfortunately, I won't be available for the March ones. But if you are looking for a little bit of help, a little bit of one-on-one, this is your chance to talk with us for a few minutes and just kind of outline what your plans are, and we'll see if we can help answer some of those questions for you. So if you'll go to the link is on your screen now, but it is bit.ly/D2D consult. I will, my voice is going again. I will also drop this right now into the comments section so that you can just click that link. That's going to be available for, I'm going to say the next 24 hours. So this time tomorrow, that link disappears. So if you're watching this later, sorry, you missed it.
Unfortunately, because of travel, both me and Mark are going to be heading to Self-Publishing Show Live and London Book Fair next week. We don't have as many slots open this time, so the slots will probably fill up pretty quickly. So we just wanted to let you know ahead of time, but we'll get to as many of those as we can.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just take advantage of it if you can, especially for those of you who have never gone to a writers conference. I did see a comment float past that said, I'm just here to hang out with other writers. And I had a wonderful chat with somebody who didn't have any specific questions. They just wanted to talk writing for half an hour. Happy to do that too, because that's the kind of stuff that we do when we're at conferences. And that's what we want to be able to offer you guys no matter where you are. Yeah.
So, and we apologize in advance if you're not able to find a slot that works for you, or if they run out quickly. That does tend to happen. It's just the nature of time, and we have no actual control over physics, despite how awesome we are at everything else. So, that's gonna wrap us up. You guys want to add anything else before we roll on out of here?
What else are we going to be at? You're going to be in San Antonio, right, Kevin?
I'll be in San Antonio mid-March sometime at the RWA meetup in San Antonio.
And then in May, both Mark and I again will be at the Career Author Summit. Yeah. So for any of you that are attending that, come by and say hi.
Yeah. And again, I think Austin said if your question was not answered, please send it to support@drafteddigital.com. We have an amazing customer care team that will address your questions. So don't think you have to wait till next month to ask the question live. You can ask it 24/7.
I don't know. Hold on to it. Hold on to it.
Hold on to it. Don't ask your question.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this month's D2D Live. We always love doing this stuff, and we hope you get something useful out of it. Make sure that you pop over to d2dlive.com to follow and see. You can catch up with past webinars there, and you can also see what's coming up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube and on Facebook. And make sure you check out drafteddigital.com, where you can start and grow and accelerate your author career with all our cool free tools. So that's it.
Thanks,
See you, everybody.